Athletes, welcome back for another fantastic day of fitness. We've got burpees, we've got snatches, we've got X jumps with no jumps today. So get ready, we're about to get into it. Our warm-up is starting in 10 seconds. So go ahead and find your spot, get some space. We are gonna be starting with double leg RDLs. We've got 3, 2, 1, and we can begin. Feet are gonna start around shoulder width apart. You're gonna take those hands and run them down your legs, keeping your back nice and straight. We should feel this bias towards our hamstrings and our glutes. If you feel it in your low back, push your hips back just a little bit further. We're gonna go through 3 more reps on this, taking it at a nice even pace. Focus on taking a nice deep breath in at the top. We're gonna go down with that air and then breathe out on the way up. After we finish this final rep, we are gonna go into tempo squats. So with our tempo squats, athletes are gonna go down for a 3 count. You can make that count. I'm not gonna count for you. It could be early, it could be late. You pick the tempo that you would like to go with this. It's gonna be a little bit slower than usual. We are gonna go down for that 1, 2, 3, and then stand. If you guys wanna add a jump at the top like Becca's doing, you are more than welcome to. If you wanna stay on the ground, you're more than welcome to as well. We're just finding that range of motion, getting everything warmed up for our workout. We've got 1 more rep and then we're gonna take it down to the floor. So our next movement that we have is that we are going down into a down dog to a seal position. So we're getting our torso opened up, hips will come back up towards the ceiling, head goes through our shoulders, and then we're back down to the floor. When you guys are doing this, I really want you to just relax into these positions, feel yourself open up. We're doing a lot of ground to overhead today, so we want to make sure that our low back, our core, our torso is nice and open before we get into this. I'm gonna have athletes do 1 more transition, and then we are going to stand up, and we're gonna go back into these RDLs. We're gonna pick the tempo up just a little bit now. So hands go on your legs, and you're gonna go down until you feel that low back start to round out. When we get to that point, we're gonna stand. We're gonna go through 3 more. We've got 2 more, and we've got 1 more. Next, we're going back into these squats. Now these are regular tempo squats. So you guys can use this at the pacing that you would be using for the workout today. Make sure that you're keeping those knees out in the same direction that your toes are pointing, and keep your chest up as you go below parallel. We're gonna do 2 more squats. We've got 1 more squat. And finally, we're going back down to the floor for that down dog seal pose again. So with this, you guys can pick the pace that you want to be here, but I really just want you to make sure we're getting a nice big stretch through our upper back when we go into our down dog, and then we drop those hips to the floor and really focus on opening up that torso when we get into our seal pose. I'm gonna have 2 more transitions. We are gonna go 1 more transition, and then we will end down at the floor, and you can relax. Now is the time. Get yourself prepared, get your mind right. Grab your water, put the dog up, do whatever you need to, get your cell phone on silent, because your workout is coming up next. The workout is starting in 10 seconds. So athletes, get ready. We got 10 rounds today, so we are gonna be working for a decent amount of time. We got 3, 2, 1, and go. We've got Brock starting out on his dumbbell hang snatch. He's doing 4 reps on one side and then going 4 reps on the other. We're making sure that when he goes into this position that he loads the hips, he keeps his chest up in the bottom, and then he reaches full extension at the top. You gotta drive with those hips to get that dumbbell moving overhead. Next, Brock is moving into his thrusters. We are going 4 on one side and then 4 on the other. With this, choose a weight today that you guys feel as though you're gonna be able to go through unbroken for the round. So our rest times are gonna be planned at our final thruster. And if you feel like you can go through multiple rounds like Brock is doing, you can push yourself, but I need to see this repeatable. So if we do 2 rounds unbroken, let's try to hit 2 rounds unbroken all the way through this workout. We've got Becca going into a modified burpee, but what she's doing is she's choosing to do an up down without a push up. We've got a couple options for you. She's doing this up down with a jump back and then a jump forward. Next, she's gonna go into her X jumps with no jumps. So this is used to replicate our alternating dumbbell snatch. She's gonna take one hand, touch between her feet, and then go overhead into that cheerleader position with both hands overhead. We've got 8 total here, or 4 on each side. The next one that she has is gonna be 8 squats to overhead reach. So with this, there's no jump here. We're just squatting below parallel, making sure we're keeping ourselves in a good position, and then reaching as far overhead as we possibly can. Now, if you haven't noticed, Becca has joined us before. She is slightly further along than last time. She's 30 weeks pregnant, and she is a trooper on this. So we've got some modifications that we're giving her here, and you'll see her switch back and forth between a few. So if you guys are in the same condition that Becca is, this is not a powerless position. Like, I think it's put out there that during pregnancy, you've got to take it easy and you've got to be careful, you got to be delicate. But Becca's a rock star. She's been killing it all the way through this pregnancy, and you can work. You need to think about being powerful during this time of your life, and we can find proper modifications that are safe. So always check with your doctor to make sure that they are clearing you for these things. Becca has done that before this workout, and anytime that she comes to class, because she's like a 5 class a week athlete, aren't you? This is like the 6th or 7th workout this week already. We got Brock going through again. I don't think this dumbbell's touched the floor. So when you guys are going through this, make sure you are using a weight that's challenging, but Brock gave himself the challenge for this workout. He's like, I'm not putting it down. If he puts it down, it's for the sake of everyone else, just so that we're not too impressed with it, but making sure that you can't hear it at home, but I can hear it. He's breathing with every rep. So he breathes out. Get a nice deep breath when you're nice and open. This applies for both athletes. So if you're pregnant, it makes it more difficult to breathe when we're bending over. So we think about when we're nice and open and lungs aren't compressed, take a nice deep breath in, and then you're gonna go into that movement. We've got overhead reach through Becca, and then we've got Brock going back into his thrusters. Brock is using a modification today of a jerk block with a couple plates on top of that because he does have a knee issue that's going on. So we've worked through what the best range of motion would be for him so that he can move pain-free as much as possible. If you guys are still experiencing a large amount of pain with the movements that you're doing, please modify. We have plenty of options that we always give you, so find something that's gonna allow you to get a good workout in, but not make whatever issue you're currently dealing with worse. We found a height that's gonna work for Brock so that he can go down right to parallel, and then he's gonna be able to go right back up into that thruster. Another thing I like to talk about is that if we're using a hard surface, so if we had a soft box, I would be less worried about this, but when we have a hard surface and we're going down with the weight, make sure you know where that is, so practice that depth before the workout so you don't crash down with the weight going on top of you and compressing you onto that hard surface. We've got Becca switching it up over on our modified burpees. Now we're going to a box, and we have a burpee toolbox, so we're doing our push-up all the way down, and then we're pressing back up. Becca has talked about how she's experienced coning in this pregnancy and her last, so she really makes an effort to focus on keeping her core engaged, and again, focusing on that breathing, because breathing is key. If you figure out your breathing, you will be a much better athlete automatically. We're back into our X jumps with no jump, touching in between. And then Becca's going into her squat to overhead reach. We got that reach in at the last second there. Brock has strategically rested right now so that Becca is not too intimidated in this workout. I was getting worried because I thought he was gonna go unbroken all the way through. Again, we're making sure that while we're going through this alternating snatch, we want to keep our chest up in the bottom. It's very easy to misload and just bend over and do a good morning, which will throw everything on our low back. So we're wanting to use that stretch reflex from our hamstrings and our glutes to drive that dumbbell directly overhead so we can get back to our thrusters. Again, we talked about with Becca, she talked about before this workout, something that helps her is that when she's nice and open, we're gonna take a nice deep breath in, touch down, and then we go up and cheer for our team because we call this the cheerleader movement. Brock is moving back onto our snatches. And another thing I like to talk about too is that sometimes people will attempt to take the dumbbell to the outside of the legs. Do not do this. I like the dumbbell loaded in between the legs because that gives you the most balance on that low back so you do not get into weird positions. Becca spoke about this workout as well, and she said that alternating hang dumbbell snatches are one of her favorite movements to do during pregnancy because it's something that is easy for her to do with the range of motion, but she can still add a little bit of weight. So if you guys would like to upscale this workout or add that dumbbell in at a light weight, if you are currently pregnant, you are welcome to. Just be smart with the weight that you're selecting and making sure that we are keeping ourselves as safe as possible in the best positions as our body is going through those changes. We got Becca going back into her squats to overhead reach. And Brock is smooth sailing all the way through these 10 rounds here. I'm gonna ask athletes, Becca, what round are you on? We're on 7 with Becca. Brock, where you at? Oh, 10 over here. 10, Brock is already on 10. That means that Becca's got to speed it up. Wherever you guys are at home, stay steady with this. We want to see steady effort all the way from round 1 to round 10. So just because Brock is flying through this, it doesn't mean that you're stopping early. We're gonna be here with you the whole time, so keep working through. We got Brock finished. Great job. Wonderful effort. So again, Brock went through this with a game plan in mind. He chose the number of rounds he was going to try to do unbroken before he took those strategic rests, which served him very, very well. We've got Becca finishing up here. She's going back into the modified burpee. Now this is our up down. On our up downs, you can step back in these if you would like to, or you can jump back. You choose the modification that's gonna work the best for you and allow you to keep the same intensity across this workout. Now we got this cheerleading pose sped up. So we've got these X jumps with no jumps back into our squat to overhead reach. Becca is doing a fantastic job. We are about to start round number 10, and this is it. So if you guys are moving the same speed as Becca, keep with it. Let's see if you can push the pace here. This is our last one. Becca's doing this with a smile on her face, as always, still being mindful of keeping that core activated. And we are going overhead. You're welcome to make a noise here if you'd like. We can go wee. It's up to you. You choose, but you got to stay serious. If the noise motivates you and it doesn't mess your breathing up, you're welcome to put it in. We are going into our final set of squat to overhead reach. And we are getting all the way overhead, reaching as high as we can. And our final reps are done. So great job, athletes. If you're still working at home, please continue to go through, finish all 10 rounds. 10 rounds can be a little intimidating, and I know you want to quit right now, but keep pushing. We finished up here. We are so thankful that you joined us. We've got our closing remarks coming up next. Awesome effort, athletes. You guys showed up once again and performed your best. We were so thankful to have you with us in this fitness journey for today. Remember, if you guys are not a part of the Mayhem Athlete community and you loved the workout that you did today, we have hundreds of other workouts just like this. Whether your goals are bodybuilding, CrossFit, functional fitness, just to get in shape for the beach, to stay in shape when you're on the road, we've got workouts that you can do anywhere. So if you are not a part of the Mayhem Athlete community, we invite you to join us. You'll find tons of athletes that will be along the same path as you and someone different, but they will always be there to motivate you and help you towards your goal. So whether it's just to get in better shape for life or to make it to the competition floor, please check us out. We'd love to have you. Now, as always, I always say this is the most important part, but your cool down mobility is somewhere through here. So please stick around long enough to do that because your body just took care of you, so you need to take care of your body. And lastly, be kind, be a good person, and make sure to join us again for another day of fitness.